But now, just give you an example closer to home. I come from Pakistan, that's my home country. And there, in many parts of the Muslim world, you can go to a fancy restaurant. Ironically, a fancy restaurant in Lahore is McDonald's. But anyway, so you go to a fancy restaurant, and you're going sitting there, you dressed up super nice to eat your, whatever sandwich. And you're sitting there, and then some family, some taxi driver's family, or some security guard's family, some chowkidar's family comes into the restaurant. And they sit right next to you. Now you're dressed all nicely, and your family's dressed all nicely, and you've got your SUV outside and all this stuff, and these guys came on bicycles, they were wearing dirty shalwar kameezes, and they're sitting next to you, speaking loud. They're really excited to be in this restaurant for the first time. Their dad saved up for a few months so he can take them on a treat. And the family that's sitting there, the posh family that's sitting there, is getting uncomfortable. And they're looking at them like, why are they here? What kind of people do they let in this place? Ugh. Even if they don't say a word, their face is sukhriya. Their face. This is the religion of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where everybody's treated equally. You can't even look at another Muslim equally. What are you talking about non-Muslims? You can't even look at another Muslim. And this is a fundamental teaching of our deen. Fundamental. All human beings are equal. They're all children of Adam alayhi salam. Something's wrong in your not only your thinking, your belief, if you can think of someone as inferior. There's something seriously wrong with your iman. Not to mention the lack of love you may have for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. لا يسخر قوم من قوم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم. He added, it may be the people you're making fun of are better than you. ولا نساء من نساء. Don't let women make fun of other women. They may be better than them. Better than them how? The girl says, what do you mean better? Look at her clothes. Look at the neighborhood she lives in. Look at the car this guy drives. He's better than me? None of that makes you better than anyone. The only thing that makes you better is what's inside, what's invisible, and that's only visible to Allah. So you may be making fun of a friend of Allah, and when someone makes fun of a friend of Allah, they become enemies to Allah. So be careful. Just be careful. I not too long ago, I met a brother. He came up to me. He wanted to take Shahada. He's in the Midwest somewhere in Ohio. And he told me that he's been white guy, he's been a bartender for his whole life. And I don't know how he found one of my videos or something on YouTube. And he starts watching a bunch of them. And he went through the entire Juz Amma tafsir that I've done podcast, which is complicated, but he went through the whole thing. Sitting in the bar, just plugging in the ear, and he's pouring drinks for his friends. 6 months. Took Shahada. On his own. No Muslim around him. Actually, he did tell me he has some Muslim friends, regulars at the bar. He asked them a few questions about Islam. So he takes Shahada and he says, I'm ready to leave this life. I haven't had a drink. A bartender hasn't had a drink for 6 months. Hasn't had a drink. When you look at him, you're not going to know this guy has taqwa. But I can guarantee you, that man has more taqwa than most of us. The situation he's in and the way he holds himself back, and then he finally quit. No savings, no nothing. He quit. I can't do it anymore. I can't go back. Even the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhu ajma'in were not given the ayat to quit alcohol right away. They were told the harm and the sin is greater than the benefit. Then they were told at least don't be drunk when you're about to pray. Then years later they were told leave it altogether. Allah did not reveal one time leave alcohol. And this man left alcohol on his own once he heard about Islam. Subhanallah. That's taqwa. But when you look at him, you wouldn't know. You'd have no idea. Don't put people down. Don't think of them as less than you. They may be way better than you are. عَسَىٰ أَن يَكُونُوا خَيْرًا مِنْكُمْ عَسَىٰ أَن يَكُنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهُمْ. Then he goes on and he says, وَلَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Please pay attention to this part, folks. The ayah is almost done. وَلَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. It's all one ayah, which means it's one teaching. It's one piece of wisdom from Allah. He says, لَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Al-lumaz in Arabic, or lams, they say, is actually bil'ain. The way you look at someone, or you wink at someone, or you raise your eyebrows and go, No words. No words. Just facial expressions. Did you know in the Quran, some of the people that Allah punishes the worst, their crimes are described as their facial expressions? ثُمَّ نَظَرْ ثُمَّ عَبَسَ وَبَصَرْ ثُمَّ أَدْبَرْ وَاسْتَكْبَرْ. He just stared. The way you could stare at someone to make them feel stupid. Somebody's trying to tell you something and you're like, Huh? You know what they're saying, but you want them to feel dumb. So you just, or you're avoiding eye contact like you're not even listening. Somebody says salam to you and you're like, when you do that, that's lumaz. When you make someone feel down, when you put someone down, just with your facial expressions. Not a word came out of your mouth. And Allah says, لا تلمزوا أنفسكم. It's so remarkable. He doesn't say, لا تلمزوا آخرين. Don't put down others. He said, don't put down yourselves. Yourselves. When you do that kind of insult, you are actually insulting your own self. You were made so much better than that. You're insulting yourself and you're inviting others to do that to you. When you treat someone in that way, then you are asking for yourself to be treated that way.